Hi, and thanks for joining us on another episode of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine. I'm Bobby P.
And I'm Rocky Holland.
And we have some great spring and summer 7-7 Blancs, but we're also blessed and pleased to have two special guests with us tonight. Miss Desiree Meyer, who won our auction basket at New Park Brewery a few weeks back. Thank you for winning that.
Well, thank you for donating it.
You're quite welcome. I heard you had some good wines in there already.
I did.
And her friend, another guest, we have Stacy St. Pierre. I love saying St. Pierre, it just rolls right off the tongue. Both these ladies are wine lovers, and they're going to be discussing stuff. And we're also going to be talking about the MS Walk in Hartford that's coming up in May. And Desiree is going to fill us on that in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So, Rocky, it's an all Sauvignon Blanc show.
It is all Sauvignon Blanc. I love Sauvignon Blanc because it is one of those grapes that has a different expression of flavor depending on where you are on the globe, and it can be very different. So we've got 5 of them loaded up here, ready to go, and we will just
we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Well, you're right, 4 different regions of the world, and they're all going to be tasting different. Yeah. And it's been at least 5 or 6 years since we did an all Sauvignon Blanc show. So I'm really excited about how this is going to go.
I think that when we think of Sauvignon Blanc, because the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc has so dominated the landscape
that's right. The audience. Of
Sauvignon Blanc in restaurants of the last few years, that's what we think of. We think of that New Zealand, but there's in California as well, but there's so much more out there, so we can kind of see,
I completely
where
agree
they
with you. And my 2 wines, I know these are going to be a little less in-your-face acidic as the New Zealand. So we're going to start off with the South African Eliza, and this is a very, I want to say, herbaceous type of Sauvignon Blanc. It is more green fruit oriented than, say, the New Zealand. If you want to pass that down.
Yep. There, you can pour. Oh, I'm not going to pour.
You can have little hints of pineapple.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, of course.
Passion fruit.
No. Okay.
Thank
I like
you.
it if you just do like that and then
Perfect.
the twist.
Oh, yeah.
I gave you a little too much, but my wife gets mad at me because there we are. All right. And we got the dump bucket right there.
Great.
If you guys want
pass
to hand
that
that
right
down,
down.
we'll have our nice little display of wines there.
And you're looking at a price point between $8.99 and what do I have here? $9.99 and $11.99, which is a very accessible price point for most people. And if you don't like the powerful New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, this one might be for you, because I did used to like the New Zealand ones, but as I gotten a little older, a little too acidic for me. So, cheers, guys.
So South Africa, Chenin Blanc, I think reigns kind of in South Africa for the white wines, but this one is, I'm going to say it's got a lot of herbaceous qualities to it. It definitely has some grapefruit on there. I actually taste some grapes on there, which is odd for this one, but what about you, Bobby?
Yeah, and South African, this particular one tends to have a little bit longer finish than you would expect. New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs tend to hit you hard and they're gone. This one has a little bit more of a finish on it, I think. I actually get some of the grapefruit pretty strongly.
It's got a little bit of a New Zealand quality to it, yeah. It's got a little bit of a pink grapefruit, maybe even a floral quality to it, but this is pretty good.
They actually say there's usually always a hint of green in South African.
A hint of green, yeah. I mean, Sauvignon Blanc typically has a grassy or bell pepper characteristic to it. It's just part of that grape. And I'm not allowed to say the chemical that is, okay, I'm just going to say it. It's called methoxypyrazine is what causes that. And it is just, it's something that the grapes, it's something that the grapes have to keep the insects off. It's like a survival.
Natural defense.
And as the grapes ripen, they lose that characteristic. So if you pick them too early, you can have a really potent kind of a green, grassy, bell pepper quality to it. And for Sauvignon Blanc, I think a lot of times the people that make it want it to have that grassy, kind of green bell pepper flavor to it, because it counterbalances the powerful grapefruit that you have. And this one I think is pretty well balanced in what they did.
So I have to ask our 2 guests. So Desiree and Stacy, what do you think?
I think it's smooth.
Smooth, I like that. Smooth.
Yeah, much smoother than a regular Sauvignon Blanc.
I like it.
Short and simple.
And as soon as you said the grapefruit, I can kind of get that a little
grapefruit.
bit, because it's definitely sweeter than what I was prepared for.
Yeah, so when you go to warmer climates like South Africa, California, you tend to get more in the tropical fruit when it comes to this particular grape. And then when we head over to New Zealand, you're going to get a lot of, and I could not think of a more ubiquitous New Zealand than the Kim Crawford I'm pretty sure it's the #1 New Zealand.
It is. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, by volume, and so that's just going to be. We're going to see New Zealand at its finest. It's grapefruit, it's grass, it's a quality product. I personally don't like it, but I'm more of other regions, so I'm kind of a Sancerre guy. So.
And I also find that the New Zealand's tend to not be quite as good when they get room temperature as compared to maybe
You
some
want your
other
New
ones.
Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, I call them New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, to be very, very cold,
Yes.
in my opinion. It's yeah. 'Cause
All
it
right, so
can be overpowered.
I'm going to give my first selection a thumbs up, not being biased, but I think it's a very inexpensive, refreshing Sauvignon Blanc for the spring and summer.
Refreshing is a good word.
Thumbs up here.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, we got thumbs
We
up.
have thumbs sideways or we have thumbs down. So you can, 2 thumbs up.
Two thumbs up.
All right, well.
Oh, Renee, what did you get that
tough to
first?
follow
one?
that.
Oh,
Thumbs up from the studio audience as well, so we're batting 1,000 now.
all right, so we're going right into Chilean, which you can find some really good Chilean Sauvignon Blancs at a very reasonable price. And this is the Keepa, and unlike the first one, this one has a little bit more of a tropical nose to it. And I want to say it's got a little bit more freshness than maybe the first one we just tried. I don't know if that's even a better way to describe it.
I got you. I'll try not to spill any here.
I want to say the fruits might be a little bit more pronounced in this one, but as we all said, the fruits are pretty pronounced in the one we just tasted. At least I got the grapefruit pretty strongly. And Stacey, is that a 90 point on there? I didn't even notice that the first time. Do you see that 90? Does that say 90 something?
Yep.
Oh, it is, okay.
That is one of the things that they like to do to sell wines. They'll send it out to various rating places, and somebody gets it. Once it gets north of 90, it doesn't matter who it is. It can be your next door neighbor rated at 90, and they'll throw a round thing on the bottle, and they'll say, this is a 90-point wine or a 94-point wine, and then everybody wants to buy it. So,
I'll try it.
yeah.
Now this one is very interesting. It definitely doesn't taste anything like our first one, and there's definitely more acid in this one, in my opinion. I think it's a little more acidic than the first one we had.
A little greener. Chilean wines, if you remember when we did the Cabernet show, the Chilean, we did it blind and we were supposed to guess what region it was, and the Chilean one was the easiest one to guess because that green characteristic that shines through in Sauvignon Blanc, Chilean wines in general have that green characteristic to them. It's just a quality that exists, and that's why Sauvignon Blanc kind of works there, because it already has the green characteristic that you want in Sauvignon Blanc. I think that the Chilean ones are probably, for my money, the closest to New Zealand that you can get. But they're typically cheaper.
They were. I mean, this is between $8.99 and $10.99, $11.99. So you could probably find this in that
Forgot
price
to put my
range
phone on
locally.
buzz there.
Oh, Rocky actually forgot to turn his phone off. Oh, when is that ever?
Cut, start, no, it's good.
I'm messing up the openings. Rocky's forgetting to turn his phone off. All expert.
My wife knows not to text me. She literally dropped me off here, and she's still texting me in the middle of the show.
And what do you think, Desiree?
I like it.
Now, I know.
It's not as sweet. It's not smooth.
Right, it's not sweet, definitely.
It's a little more of what I was expecting from the first one.
Did you happen to open up that really nice bottle of Chardonnay that was in that auction basket? I can't remember what the brand it was, but
I think that may be the one I have left.
good. That's a good one. I would say that's got some value to it. So
Okay.
open it up when you have some very special friends over to enjoy
Well, I
that one.
always have. Yeah. I think I shared one with Renee.
And Stace, what do you think?
I like the first one better.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
This is a little close to New Zealand for me, so it's a little bit more punchy in the face than I was expecting.
Yes.
Yeah, when you stick your nose in the glass, you can just smell that herbaceous quality to it.
Yes.
Kind of grassy, but I like it. I probably like the South African one a little bit more. Yeah.
And Rocky, I think we're doing good because we're keeping them a little bit colder than we normally do because we really just popped these out of the chillers when Rocky got in and I got in. So they're still got some coldness to them. So both these first two, I think, are the right temperature.
Yes, the Sauvignon Blanc, Rosé, and Champagne, probably that's the big three that you don't want to let get too warm or they just start to taste a little just cloying.
Right.
So before we go into our next bunch of wines, I want Desiree to have give us some information on the Hartford MS Walkathon that's coming up in May. And please share with our audience what's going on, what's happening, and how it's important to you.
Well, Walk MS is hosted by the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. It started in 1988, was the first one. I have a team. I started Desiree's Dynamos in 2018,
Great
which
name.
was 1 year after I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So this is going to be, my 7th walk or my 8th walk now. Obviously, COVID threw a kink into some things. There used to be one in West Hartford. Last year, that was the first time they decided to combine a few walks to try to get a greater impact. So we now have it at Renchley Field, and it's known as the Greater Hartford, so that we can combine and meet with our East Hartford families and our West Hartford families and our Hartford families, and all combine. We walk around underneath the stadium, and it's really cool. There's a lot of music, there's booths, a lot of teams. I started for me, and it's amazing when you become immersed in the MS culture and you start meeting and finding your people. That's how I met Stacy when I was finally brave enough to go to a support group. That is one of the things that's hosted by the MS Society, is they have 13 different support groups that are hosted throughout the state of Connecticut, so that people that are diagnosed or people that are friends and family of those that are diagnosed, they can go and learn and try to get some feedback and just share and their emotions and their thoughts and their feelings. Because when you have any sort of a chronic illness, you need some extra support. And sometimes just talking to people that know and understand what you're going through
Yes, of course.
is all that you need.
And this is coming up May 18th.
May 18th.
And we're going to provide you, for the end of the show, Desiree's going to talk more about how you can get in touch with buying tickets or offering your
You
support.
don't have to buy tickets.
Oh,
It's
just show up?
free. Just come and show up. If you want to support, you can go onto the website. You can search for my team, Desiree's Dynamos, or you can just search and see which teams in the area that you would like to support, and you can donate any. Oh, thank you, Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
This is why we have teamwork.
flyer.
Just simply walkms.org for the main information, and you would search Walk MS. All of the proceeds from all the walks go to the Connecticut chapter of the MS Society. It helps with research. It helps supporting people with resources that they don't have access to. Finding access to doctors, if you need rides to doctor's appointments. It helps fund the support groups. It means just a plethora of resources.
And hopefully
the money helps.
we won't give Stacy and Desiree too much wine, so they will be able to show up on the 18th. I think we'll be okay, though.
That's 4 weeks.
There's a good resting
That's 4
period
weeks.
between
We got
that.
a handle. We got it.
We tend to get a little out of control here after that.
Gets a little crazy, yes, indeed.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. We'll talk a little bit more about before the end of the show. And so, Rocky, what do you got going next?
You know where we're headed.
You're going to go right into Kim Crawford, huh?
We're headed to the holy grail of Sauvignon Blanc. It is New Zealand. It is Kim Crawford. It is on every menu in the United
That's right, I'll let you
States.
reach that bottom since you're the closest. Is that the middle one, right? Middle
Yep,
one?
that's
This
the
one
middle
here?
one. So, I mean, it's. Do I even need to describe it? Because
No,
everybody
that's
that's
the
watching
classic.
the show has had Kim Crawford
Still
before.
feels ice cold.
But you know, we have to rank these. We have to pick the winner. So.
Oh, you didn't
if
rate
it-
the other one.
Oh,
See
that's
if
right,
I
we
can
did not.
do
Well,
We did not rate the
I'm only
second
giving it
one.
a sideways for that
I'd
one.
probably give it, yeah.
Sideways on
Yeah,
that one,
sideways, maybe like 9, 10 o'clock. But, oh, nice. Very
Oh,
good.
a little
That's all right.
That's pretty clear, too.
We have spilled so many wines on this show.
I'm
It's
sure.
like, this tablecloth has been
I would
soaked.
be the one to have it go
Very
all
good.
over,
Leave
which
this
is
down
why
here.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
I mean, as soon as you stick your nose in the glass, you say that's New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc because it is grapefruit.
Yep.
It's grapefruit. It's pink grapefruit.
I smelled it.
Yeah.
I smelled the grapefruit. That's odd.
It's astounding. And our first wine actually had hints of grapefruit in it. But you can see how it jumps up from maybe a 3 or 4 in the South African.
Yeah.
Right. You're jumping up to like a 9 or 10 here. in Kim Crawford.
The interesting thing about this particular region is that the reason they get these, I read these like wine geeky chemistry things, blogs, and the reason that they get this flavor is because the grapes are beat to death in the mass harvesting, and so they open up in the field and they undergo a type of fermentation that allows like esters to get in, and it creates this grapefruit flavor. And it's interesting because most wines in the world, if you hand pick them, they're more expensive, they're better that way, there's a lot, but the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc you don't want to hand pick. You want it to be mass harvested, you want it to be beat to crap in the procedures that they use. And it works, and it's a very consistent product from year to year. You could have this year, 5 years from now, it's going to taste exactly the same.
So you would say fans of this wine tend to be a little sadomasochistic.
Masochistic.
Masochistic.
Can we edit? We can edit that part.
I can't talk tonight.
This would be masochistic.
Was that the right term, though? Did I use the right term at least?
I guess. Yeah.
That would be the right term, right? If you like to get beaten and
If you like
smacked
to,
around.
yeah.
I can
Chuckles
definitely
from the
taste
audience.
citrus.
I don't think we've ever used that comparison on the show before.
Definitely the first time masochistic has appeared on.
Desiree, Stacey, what have you done to our show?
Right?
I'm a magnet
bring
for
that
trouble.
down.
Well, it's her fault over there, too.
We have landed at a low point, Bobby. I don't know if we
Did
can
you know
drag
that
ourselves
MS is
up
a
from
very
here.
sporadic disease? Really bizarre things happen, and each person's experience is very different. So you're welcome for sharing.
No problem.
One of the things is we do stumble upon our words and use the incorrect vocabulary at times. Brain says one thing, but out comes something different.
Interesting. I tell my wife that because she's always criticizing my way of pronouncing certain things. I say I do it on purpose.
vernacular.
Yes, I say I do it on purpose. I'll hear about that later. So what do you think? I know you've had this one before,
He's
right?
asking you. He knows what I think about this
yes.
one.
Stacey, Desiree, what do you think?
I like the citrus, but I like the first one better.
So like me, you sort of like the smoothness of the first one.
Exactly. And even the tongue feel on the first one, it was just a light coating, where this is much sharper.
Well, Rocky, we know what your opinion is. It's not your favorite. But
It's not terrible, and when it's like July and you put a chiller on this to chill it to almost like there's ice crystals forming in it. I have to drink this stuff so cold, and it's very refreshing and on a very hot day. But those are the only circumstances. Also, I'm going to let everybody at home know this. We found this out quite by accident. Key lime pie and New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is one of the best wine and food pairings I've ever had in my life.
Oh, my.
We happened to have some. Sandy was drinking that. I didn't order it, but she had some, and we ordered some key lime pie, and she tasted it together, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe this." And then I tried the two back to back, and I was like, "Oh my, that
That makes
was
sense, though, I think.
yeah.
But it would have to be a true key lime pie, not a Jell-O key lime pie. Like a true key lime pie made with the key limes and the cheesecake base. Like that would work.
Everything
Like the
worked.
Jell-O one, no. But with that I can imagine.
yeah." So,
And I know I said it earlier in the show, it's just, I used to be a huge fan of New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. It's just, the acidity in that just really seems to bother me now as I've,
I didn't know that the New Zealand, and all I knew of was the New Zealand, the harder ones. And this one I love.
and there's actually a lot more. We actually don't have time to do them all, and I don't even know if we're gonna get to Rocky's last one, but there's,
that's why I didn't open it.
Yeah, so-
we tend to be a little long in the tooth here on this show, in case you haven't noticed.
but it's another reason why you should always go to tastings, no matter what town you're from, where you live, go to tastings and try different wines, because I guarantee you there's stuff that you've never tasted that you're going to taste and you're going to like. And that's the only reason I found out, I tend to be more of a French wine lover, especially the French whites. And French Sauvignon Blancs are very light and smooth. And those are actually my favorite now. But that's the only way to do it. You got to go to your local tastings here in West Hartford, Southington, wherever you live, and they have plenty of them. So please do that. So, of course, I'm going to give that just a sideways, because there is a place for that. I know that most people like it. I don't hate it, but it's just not for my palate.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up only because this is what it's supposed to be.
It's the
and
best
I
version.
respect that Kim Crawford, whatever they're doing, has made a lot of people want to go and order a glass of wine. And
fair enough.
I think that I like when people don't reach for the typical Chardonnay and Cabernet from California that everybody in America loves so much. This is kind of force people to branch out a little bit, and so I'm going to give it a thumbs up, even though it's not my favorite wine in the world.
What is our last one, or possibly our last one on the?
So I wanted to, if you go to France and you go to the Loire Valley, there is a wine called Sancerre that typically runs between $30 to $50 a bottle, and I didn't really want to spend that for tonight. So this is Sancerre's younger cousin. This is a basic Loire Valley Sauvignon Blanc. It is the same grape. It's very close to the region, and I think I had this the other day recently. I think it's a very good expression for about half the price of Sancerre. This one typically runs between $12 and $14, and it is it's close to Sancerre.
So he's living in the trailer park compared to the chateau.
Exactly, yeah, somewhere along. I mean, I'm from Tennessee, so I mean, we all know that. I don't call it my southern dialect. I call it my southern derelict. It's when I speak. So
Well, we love it.
I guess
Really.
I'll start down here since I'm closest.
And you said the price point was about $12.99 around there?
Yeah, so this is between $12 to $13, and if you,
Thank you.
the profile of this area with this grape tends to be a little more in the kind of peachy, less herbal than it is in New Zealand or Chile. And if we have time to do the Bordeaux that I brought, that one's even more kind of in the peachy region of this,
No real nose on this one compared to the other three, at least for me.
because it doesn't have grapefruit that's jumping out at you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's what Bobby P likes.
Very different, but
That's what Bobby P likes.
But you can taste the minerality. You can taste the a little bit more on the apricot peach end of it. It's not grapefruits jumping out of the glass at you. I like this wine a lot, and for the price point, I think it's really good. So this is but it just goes to show you, as we've progressed along the line here, what one grape can be in different regions, how it can taste so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mineralness in this is what I've always liked, especially with French wines. It goes for me, which is why I like a lot of French different types of wines, whether it's white or red. And Renee, you'll get to try this at the end of the show, so I think you're going to like it. But this is an easy drinking spring and summer wine.
Yes. Easy drinking is
You
perfectly
can sit
said.
outside and just drink this, and there's nothing that's going to really be too drastic or overpowering
Right.
as you're drinking this.
Yep.
It's a conversation wine.
It's a dangerous wine.
Well, that's true.
Because it doesn't, it is so easy to drink.
And we never discussed actually alcohol content for any of these, but I'm going to guess across the board, 11 to 12 for Sauvignon Blancs, maybe
Typically, Sauvignon Blancs are going to be around 12%.
12%. So I mean, you still got to drink them a little slow.
12,
So you don't want to,
12,
as we like to call them, patio pounders or porch pounders. Or something. You still got to be careful because these will eventually hit you. Not like a margarita, but eventually they will hit you right in the head.
Yeah.
But this is delicious. Have we had this one before?
We have not. This is actually we had Bill with Drinkable Arts and Porters. This came off the boat from France about 2 weeks ago. And there's something called bottle shock. You've probably heard of the movie Bottle Shock, but it's actually a real wine term where the wines are kind of doing this on the boat the whole time, and then when they get on the docks, they have to let it sit for a little while, or else the tastes aren't exactly right. And I've read a lot of articles of people that try to figure out why this happens, and they really there's not any real explanation scientific that they've figured it out. There's a lot of ideas as to why it happens. This one's got the flavor, so. I was a little worried when I first tasted this a week ago that it was still going to have bottle shock, but this has got some pretty good flavor, and I think probably 2 weeks from now it's even going to have more flavor. So,
Well, I could see Stacy like it. Hers is already gone.
so this is, if you want to buy this in a store, it's not available in stores yet. But
Really?
I will. If you're following the wine page, West Hartford Wine Club, I'm certain that some stores are going to probably carry it between now and when this store airs, and I will let you know on that page. So.
I'm a little surprised. Does most wine come on a ship? It's not via plane, or it depends on.
It comes by ship, yep.
It mostly always comes by ship.
As far as I know, all of it does. I don't know
Fascinating.
that any are coming on plane, yep. And that is something that happens, is that they get jostled in the trip over, and they call it bottle shock, and they have to sit there for a little while before they want to sell it.
How long's a little while?
We let ours sit for a week. That's you at least a week, up to a month is even better. But unfortunately, what happens in the wine industry is that there are certain wines, in particular Sancerre, that are highly desired, and they run out, and everybody buys it up. And so when it hits the docks, they're like, "Can I get some more? Can I get some more?" And it's like, you can, but it might not taste right.
not ready.
But people are just like, I don't care. I need some Sancerre right now. And so. And so that's the way it goes. And typically you don't experience a whole lot of bottle shock, but every now and then you taste something, and then a month later you revisit it and you go, man, this is better.
I had no idea.
But I think this one has a lot of flavor.
It does.
So,
This
It's-
does. I
good.
like
It'll be
that.
my
This
favorite
hasn't
for the
been-
night. And I'm going to do a little bit. This is the one that I thought compared to the Sancerre that we just finished this. want to have a little bit more sample of this. I think this is the closest comparison to the one we just finished with. And see what you think if it's close to that French one.
I wanted to bring a Sancerre to compare side by side with that, but I was a little afraid that this one might beat out the Sancerre, and I didn't want it to like insult the Sancerre. So
I gotta be honest, your French
not
one
this one,
is-
but the one from Loire. It's very close to Sancerre, like shockingly close to Sancerre for half the price.
Your white is my favorite. I mean, it really is.
Yeah,
That
it's,
one's very
Yeah,
good.
I would say that is definitely my favorite by far.
I like them both. I like the idea of doing that one on a hotter day, though, because I'm not going to drink it too quickly.
Yeah.
That one I can sip whenever,
Yeah.
because it's so sweet. I can control myself. That one I could just like relax,
That's just smooth.
put my feet in
Yeah,
like
and
a
it's-
little bit of water to cool off.
And those of you who saw our last show, or it was the one before, I think it was our last show, me and Rocky had talked about the wine opener that just uses a needle and air pressure. That's it right there. That is available on Amazon. That's a Tizine, and that's the one that really just, you put the needle in and the air pressure pops it right out. There usually is no problem. So we only have about 2 minutes left in the show, and I just want to once again thank Desiree for not just showing up to New Park Brewery to support West Hartford Television, but also just well, of course, winning our wine basket. That didn't happen.
I was surprised because honestly, I never win raffles. So I was like, yay, I won wine. I did not realize that I won a guest spot in a podcast. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So this has definitely been quite a pleasant experience. I am grateful to you guys. I am grateful for Jennifer sending out the town-wide email saying, hey, this is going on. Otherwise, I would not have known.
Well, we're very grateful for you to support WHC TV, or WHCI as it's called now, because everything's computerized and interactive. So we old folks still think of it as TV. It's still TV.
We're very interactive here.
Yeah, it's very interactive. But it goes by fast, doesn't it? The show goes by fast. And it's one of the things that Rock and I enjoy doing is having people try different wines that they might not have tried before. And I think both of you, and I think Renee's going to realize that later too, that wines that you've never tried before can be damn good if you just give them a chance.
Really good.
Yes. Oh, by the way, we have to choose
yes.
a
Yep,
best
that's-
in
thank you,
glass. So
All right, we got 4 people here, so let's see. I'm going to go with Rocky's choice for my favorite at the end there.
I'm agreeing. You're going with that one.
You can go whatever one.
I am. I'm going to go with the South African.
South African, there you
I'm
go.
going to go with the South African.
So, boy, this show goes by fast. I want to thank Stacy. I want to thank Desiree,
you.
Renee, and our audience, and all you people that make our show so popular and successful. And we got some exciting news coming for you in October, November. We'll let you know later on. So once again, thanks for watching. I'm Bobby P.
And I'm Rocky Holland
And until next time, keep all of us
in your wine cellar.